Index and workpaper folder organization. A lot of accounting is all about organizing information. Particularly tax is organizing information that clients provide, such as a W-2 or 1099, 401k. Using all this information, we're going to prepare a 1040. Now the software does a lot to add things up for us as long as it's inputted in correctly. So some firms might choose to review off of input sheets or the actual forms, especially for basic tax returns. However, when things start to get more complicated and you want to be able to scale up, it's almost like miniature tax returns. So in the example of the 1040, if someone only has one piece of interest, it'll be pretty obvious that it goes there. Or if there's only W-2 withholding, but if there's maybe 3 W-2s and 10 interest income sources coming from K-1s, rentals, it gets very complicated. So having really good order will help you as a preparer as far as scaling up to more difficult projects by able to follow the last year's work papers in an organization. These are the general work paper organization. This is the index. And so within this Excel file, here we have the individual index that generally follows the flow of the tax return and important information. This can be notes for next year, carry forward items, review notes, engagement letters, internal checklists, anything that comes in. Now you're not going to have all of these things, but you'll have some. And depending on what firm you're working for, these can be adjusted as far as work paper reference, as well as what software screen these things generally go into, so that new employees can easily pick up on this stuff. Coming right into it, when I get a mess of paperwork, I want to be able to organize it and be able to find it in consistent ways. So I know that C is going to be 401k stuff, and by having that, I'll also be able to put that in my work paper as a reference. So I know that all of these things can be pointed back to the source. Here we have prepare questions, interview and onboarding, emails that come through. Emails have a date prefix to them, all the way to projections, forward looking, backwards. Some of these might not tie into this exactly because I'm preparing on the fly in this case. It's just me. So as long as I can get the order and at least group things together, it's really convenient. So in this, let me just give a quick overview. I have an implementation guide, guidelines to help out. So if a preparer has questions, they can revert back to the guidelines. Abbreviations, JRG, or otherwise. There's lots of different abbreviations that your firm might use, or as a preparer you might want to use, but this gives an idea to sort of standardize when we're doing shorthand. Really convenient. We have the general lead, which this would be like a very basic prep that might have, say, $100 of interest from work paper D, and work paper E maybe $50. Maybe you'll have some wages, $10,000, $500 of tax, and then maybe you have a pension here, and then some tax here. So this is totaling up all your tax totals here. This is a work in process. It'll be improving as well as customize it for your own purposes. So here, I'll give an example of what that lead looks like. Before we do that, there's also business index, if convenient, as well as permanent file. Permanent file is going to be very important things that don't go away, that need to stay on year to year. So we have this Z's in the permanent file. Reviewer questions, prepare questions. So prepare questions actually will ask things due, and then the reviewer will as well. So work paper, tax return reference, everything is referenced back and forth. Now that workpaper referencing is also broken down in here. So coming from one section to the other section, you can kind of translate that. Now let's see a little bit what it looks like using the general lead here. Now you'll see there's some mortgage company that actually threw off some interest, some wages, and then there was, in this case, some 1099 activity with federal and California taxes withheld. This number is going to tie right into the tax return, as well as this number. Now I've also included some deductible state tax related things, SDI as well as California deductible, also deductible on these little ones. There's some DMV coming through. So now we have Schedule A taxable income. Since these are already coming together, we throw on the property tax, come up with total tax, that'll tie to the Schedule A, and then these various 1098 documents. Coming into the individual, this breaks it down in a real nice order so that we can have a nice file like this. If the original document has something like this in it, I keep this part and also try and be as descriptive as possible when you're naming. So like this one is one of our earlier examples, has tax grouping or otherwise. Very nice work paper. And so you can see that certain things came from certain places. So if I say, hey, where the heck did these assets come from? I don't see them over here. Well, it's going to be in this one email or the other. So follow the file organization. It'll make things seem like maybe a waste of time at first, but it'll allow to scale up for much bigger turns and also allow the managers quicker review times at higher rates as well. For staff, this is all about organization and identifying things. So change things on the cloud drive level so they'll reorder, and then when client documentation comes in, it will not have a work paper prefix. So in that case, you'll know that some new information came. Now, as we're filling out prepare questions, the manager might be able to ask some. Otherwise, go ahead and draft up a letter, such as, dear client, we need the following information. Thanks so much. Maybe put something funny in there, and then the manager can go ahead and adjust as necessary and send it out. So this, in very brief, is a work paper organization, which I have full access to with the paid course. And these are all fluid, customizable. Maybe A to M doesn't work for you. Maybe you don't like this order. It can be adjusted as well as added in particular software screens. So this has been a work paper index and organization, and also combined with the file structure. Thank you.